How to start ready-to-wear business. Ready-to-wear business is one of the fashion business that is trending right now. We have so many fashion businesses, and ready-to-wear is one of it that is trending, and people are making a hell lot of money from it. So I decided to ask ChatGPT. I have experience in it, and I'm into it. So I decided to ask ChatGPT, what are the steps? Now, in this particular video, I will be comparing what ChatGPT would give to me with what I've experienced so far in ready to wear business. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now, I will be pasting the question I asked ChatGPT. Okay, what I typed in, let me read it out for you to see here. I said, I want to start ready to wear business. I have learned how to sew and cut. I need a well detailed guide on how to start a female ready to wear business in Nigeria. Now, if you're to ask ChatGPT this question, you need to be specific. If you're into men, you specify men. If you're kids, you want to go into kids, specify kids. Now, another thing is your country, it varies. Okay. So I specify where I am and where I want to start the business. Now I said Nigeria. Now here is what ChatGPT gave to me. And here they gave me, I will be, displaying it here. They gave me below is a complete step-by-step guide. And the first step is understand what ready to wear means. That is a good, immediately I saw this, I said, what ChatGPT. In fact, what AI cannot do does not exist. It does anyway. It does exist, but AI made our work so easy. Yes, you need to understand what ready to wear is. You see this step one, that is the first important thing you should know before starting a ready to wear business. Now let's read what they said. Okay. And he went ahead, okay, said, ready to wear clothes are made clothes in standard size that customer can buy immediately without sewing from scratch. An example they gave to us is gown, corporate gown, character, blah, 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 blah. And the sizes, they equally gave us sizes. ChatGPT gave me sizes. But one thing I want to tell you is if you want to start a ready to wear business, you need to know what ready to wear business is and what it entails. And that is the first thing for you to do before starting a ready to wear business. Okay. That is the second step. Choose your female fashion niche. You see this particular one, I made a mistake with that. I personally, when I started my ready to wear business, I was selling to the market. So people that I supply to, they will be like, can't you make something for a bigger person, make trouser, make this, make Ankara? I was making Ankara, I was making corporate, I was even making dinner gowns. So these are the things I made mistaken. All right. So, but let's read what ChatGPT gave to us. All right. It said, do not sew everything. I love it. I will be pasting this here. All right. Pick a specific category. How do I put this? This is very important. You cannot sew everything. And here are some of the niches, right? AI gave to us. One of them is corporate female wears. Yes. If you're into corporate, please specify, stay on that lane and be doing corporate. If you're into Ankara ready to wear, stay on the lane of Ankara. Do not combine it with chiffon, crepe, the best of, and the rest. Now, another thing is casual female wear. If you're into wears that girls wear on the streets, I personally, that is what I'm into right now. What is trendy, what girls wear, that is what I make. Okay. Then, or you're into moderate fashion, just like long gown, boo and the rest of them, and bridals and luxury wears. Pick your niche. Now let's see what it says under. It says choosing a niche helps you attract the right customer and build a strong brand. In fact, I do not know what AI cannot do. AI helps a lot in business. If you want to start a business, the guide help AI gives you helps a lot. So that is why I decided to bring this here. So you get to know that, in fact, whatever you want to do, before doing any other research, go through AI. All right. So this is the second step. Now let's go for the third step. This third step, when I started my ready to wear business, I made that mistake and I paid heavily for that. All right. So but here it is, study your market. The third step. The third step is study your market. Before sewing anything, research. Before you want to start, do research. And what are the areas and what you should ask yourself? Let's see what AI says. It says, what type of clothes do women around you buy most? You need to ask that question. You need to ask that question because this particular question just occurred to me that I don't know how many of you remember know 44. When she came out to say she has stopped 44 clothing, I felt bad. But The reason why she said that, I understand. Most of what she sews, all right, it's not for Nigeria. If you're making clothes for Nigeria, you need to sew what Nigerians wear. It's very important. This is very key. Okay. Now, another thing question you should ask yourself: what designs are trending on the Instagram? Even AI knows Instagram. So if you're a fashion designer, especially if you're those that deal on online and you're not on Instagram, you're losing out. Now, what is trending right now? As I'm making this video, there's a particular style that is trending. That is the handkerchief skirt. It comes in skirts. It comes in gown. It is trending. Okay, so you need to know what is trending. Now, another question is: what are fashion brands selling fast? What goes, when it comes to fashion, what right now, clothing, what sells fast now? You need to ask yourself that question. Now, the places where you carry out this study, AI has equally given you where you should go for your study. Now, the first of them all is Instagram. The second is TikTok, and the third is Pinterest. And the fourth is fashion markets and fashion brands in Lagos. These are the 5 places you should study. For me, I'll tell you to study Instagram, study TikTok, study Pinterest. Forget about every other one. All right. These 3 alone is all you need. All right. So you need to study your market, what your market wants, what people outside there wants. Those you want to set, you need to know their needs and wants, the kind of clothes they wear. Now, if you decide to go for corporates, those into corporates that are on Instagram, what kind of corporates do they sell? What kind of corporates do their customers buy? What kind of corporates do you see on office workers on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Pinterest? So these are the studies. All right. Even if it's Ankara, what kind of Ankara clothing is trending right now? So these are the areas. Now, the first steps, I'll try to be fast so this video will not be too long. The fourth one is create your brand. This is very, very, very true. When I started because I said to local market, I didn't even think of brand. I don't know, my brand is not on the social media space. It's more of local markets that I supply to. So branding, I didn't consider that. But right now, if I'm to restart it again or maybe I'm to start afresh, I'll think of branding. Okay, brand helps a lot. But let's see what AI gives us. Even small businesses need branding. I do need branding. All right. What and what you should do to choose to go for your branding? Business name, mm, brand color, that's true. Logo, all right, and brand style. These are the things, these 4 things actually defines your brand, what kind of brand you are and what your brand is into. These are the things that, yes. First, you need a business name. I said to the local market, I don't have a name. They know me by my name. Okay. But if you are doing it, especially when you want to deal with social media space and all the rest of them, please, you need a name. You need to go and register it. You need a logo and you need a brand style. What does your brand speak of? When you think of Vicky James, you think of wedding wears, occasional wears, all right? But there are other people on the social media space. When you think of their clothes, you think of birthday parties, you think of everyday wears. So that is your brand. All right. Now, AI actually went ahead to give us some of the brands, all right, elements. Now, see what they wrote. Brand name, idea, they gave us idea. Ziva woman, target market, working class women, style, elegance, and class. Now, when it comes to social media space, if you're into ready to wear dressing, in fact, even if it's everyday dress that you say, and it does not speak of class and elegance, forget it. You're not getting sales. People want to look classy when they are putting on their dress. They want to look good. They want to look rich when they wear your dress. So if any of your clothing, if your videos come out looking this way, you sell easily. Now let's go to the 5th step. All right. Now create your first collection. Now you know all we have done so far. You have done your market study. All right. You have given your brand a name, and you have studied the market. You have equally chosen a fashion niche, and you have understood what ready to wear business is. The 5th step is for you to create your first collection. Now, do not start with many styles. Okay, out of experience, I'll tell you, do not start with maybe I want to sew and fill my whole space with clothing. I will just be sewing blah blah blah. No, start your collection with maybe 2 or 3. 5 at most is 5 is the highest of them all. Do not go too big. All right. Now let's see what AI gives us. And he said, experts recommend 5 to 10 styles first. Experts recommend 5 to 10 styles first. All right. Now, examples started the collection you can go into, they decide to give us example. And one of them is shorts, Ankara gown, two-piece sets, office dress, max, they are just giving us the. And another thing is the sizes. Make 2 to 3 pieces per size. Yeah, make to 3 to 5 pieces per size. If you're making for size X, all right, you make about 3 pieces of it. If you're making for extra large, you make about 3 pieces of it. For me, what I basically do is 2 inches, depends on the demand. Currently, I have demand, is when they demand, all right, that I are some of the examples that AI gave to us. It says short gown. If you're into Ankara, you can go for short gowns. Two-piece. You see, two-piece? Two-piece is still selling, and it is still selling. Two-piece set. Yeah. I do not know if that two-piece. In fact, any style that is two-piece, it sells a lot. Okay. So office dresses for those that are into corporate wears, casual maxi gown, Ankara, kimono jacket. It's just giving an example. And another thing that AI just showed me here that I like is making 3 to 5 pieces per size. Now, if you're making size for small, 3 pieces, medium, 3 pieces, extra large, 3 pieces, large, 3 pieces, all the sizes, three pieces per size. Do not go and make each size 10, this one 10. No, three pieces. Okay. Now let's go to the sixth step that it gave to us is buying the fabrics. Now, we equally clarify what you need for you to buy materials you need. If you listed some of the materials and the thread. Now, you must have decided what you want to go into. Okay, when it comes to fabric, I think I'll just do explanation on this. What AI just did is list the kind of fabric you see in the market. Okay, but for me, out of experience, what I'll say is you have understood what ready to wear is. You have branded yourself, okay, and you have decided the niche you want to go into. Now, the fabric you're to buy is the fabric that fits your niche. If you're into Ankara wears, you need to decide, am I going for original Ankara or fake Ankara? If you're into corporate wears, we have Korean crepe. We have so many of them. So you need to decide what you're to work with. So the fabric you're buying is fabric that pertains to your niche. That is what you're buying. So when you go to the market, you source them out. And for the market, for those in Nigeria that want to go into this, all right. I do not know. I've never gotten fabric from Lagos before, because people that I know that are in Lagos, they actually come down to Aba to buy fabric. When I started my ready-to-wear business back as 2018, when I finished my service, I remember my friend then, Gift, comes from Lagos to Aba. So it depends on your local market, but it is best you get fabric the cheapest you can, or good quality. You go for quality and cheap. Okay, best. So you'll be able to maximize your profit. So that is the sixth. Now the seventh is production strategy. Now AI gave us 3 options. One is sew everything yourself. Hire tailors is the second one. Third option, outsource sewing. Now let's start with sew it yourself. Now here is it. The good part of it is the capital required is small and the production will be small. But let me give you the negative part of it. The negative part of you sewing it yourself, you will not have time to advertise. You will not have brain to think of how to sell. You will not have in fact, when it comes to your sales will be zero. So for me, I will tell you that is a no-go area. If you're starting a ready-to-wear business, for no reason should you say, hey, I want to sew it myself. Don't try it. You will be limited. I know the other options have their challenges, but it's better to face those challenges and make money than for you to be in one place and be stagnant. No. So that option is a no-go area. So the only 2 options we have is hire a tailor, hire tailors, or you outsource it. Now you ask me which is the best. For me, hiring tailor is the best. Outsourcing it is equally good. But when you're dealing with brand, you need to protect your brand. You do not want somebody coming to say, this dress, maybe you made dress for a popular person, and how many of you remember what is her name? The robot girl. Okay, I'm trying to remember her name. A designer made dress for her, but she outsourced it to another designer. So when the designer she outsourced it to, saw that the dress is viral, all right, she started posting, I'm the one that made it. That is not good business. Okay, so outsourcing it is it's an option. But for me, if you're working to build a brand, you need, in fact, if you're to even outsource, let that person come to your space to make that dress. For any reason you want to outsource, let that person come to your space to make that dress. But for me, hiring of tailor is the best. And best importantly, hire many tailors. In fact, have contract tailors that you call when you need them, they'll come and sew. When you call, you need them, they come and finish the dress and go. Then you have daily tailors, all right? So just combine them. You will not have much. Another thing is this the step 8 is creating a standard size. Yeah, you need to create a standard size. Devise your own standard. When I started my ready to wear, I was sewing clothes for people, and I know that when we talk of small size, all right, those that have a bust 32 and the waist is 26 and the hip is about 38, there are few. All right, it is good you go with that measurement if you are working with stretchy fabrics. Okay, so if you're somebody that have worked with people, you've made dresses for people, you know how measurements, interfere. So when you're dealing with stretchy fabrics, a small size dress or stretchy fabric can be worn by middle size. You know that. So fabric actually interferes with these sizes, but you need to set a standard size for yourself. You tell yourself, if I'm working on small, this is what I'll use. The waist should be maybe 24. All right. And the bust should be 38 or 36. On the hip, I will be going for 38. So you need to give your own measurement, your sizes. All right. So, but AI gave us sizes. Look at what it gave us. Small size, all right, bust 34, waist 28, and hip 38. Medium size, bust 36, waist 30, and hip 40. So these are some of the sizes, but which you can, do research on some of the fashion brands in Nigeria, decide their size chart. You can, get different size charts and combine them and, check the one that suits you best. All right, now I'm trying to be hurry. And the 9th step is take good pictures. Oh, Jesus. You see this one? You must have done sewing, everything. You see pictures. If your picture does not show elegance, class, money, cancel it. It is very important. But let's see what AI gave us. It said, fashion sells through visuals. Yes, people believe in what they see. When I started my this particular word, somebody gave it to me, and she said, "Choma, people believe in what they see." People want to see good things. Nobody wants to see that your clothes is anyhow. Somebody gave me that advice about 6 years back, and I'm still using it to date. Okay. Now, let's see what AI gave us. It says fashion sells through visuals. Okay. You need good camera. Hey, Chineke. You need good camera. If you're into fashion business, I think one of the things you should consider investing your money in is good phone. Good phone is very important. I wish I can elaborate more on the importance of good phone, but there's no time. I'm trying to make this video not to be too long. Okay. Then another thing you'll be needing is a model. Yeah, you need somebody that has shape, somebody that the shape is in order. If in fact any kind of dress you're making and you go and get somebody that has big tummy and does not have bum bum, hey, your name is sorry. You need to go and look for a model that has big bum bum, tiny waist, better chest, better up. The bust, waist, and hip should be figure eights. It matters. Another thing is, okay, let's see, the third thing you need is a clean background. I will tell you, you need a classy background. Your background can be neat, but it is not giving that dress that elegance. You need classy background. So when you wear your classy dress, it will rhyme. Okay, please. So the fourth thing you need is natural lighting. Yeah, you need light. Okay, but another thing I'll say is go out there and buy LD light, a strong one, like one that can serve as you can use at night and it still gives you a good picture. So these are the four things you need when taking a picture. All right. Now let's go for the 10th. Let's go for the 10th option. And the 10th step is choose where to sell. Right now, where to sell is. Let's see what AI gave to us. At number 1, he said Instagram. That is my number 1. At number 2, he said WhatsApp. Okay, that's nice. At number 3, he said physical shop. Okay. Well, I'll list this, then I'll give you my number 1. Then number 4 is online marketplace like GG and Facebook markets. Okay. Let me give you my own where to sell. Where to sell, all right? The first place you need is TikTok. You need TikTok, you need Instagram. All right. You can include YouTube. You can include Facebook, but first and foremost is TikTok and Instagram. These are the two places you need to sell. Every other place you can add them. All right. Now, the 11th step is you choose your clothes properly. You choose your price properly. That is the 11th step. Use this formula. Here is the formula. Cost times 2 or times 3 equals to selling price. What do we do? I will tell you cost times 3 equals to selling price. That is how you determine your price. If the cost of sewing a dress is 15,000 naira, multiply it by 3, you sell that dress for 45,000 naira. The cost I'm talking about includes electricity, the tailors you have to pay, in fact, everything around you. All right? And the rent of the shop or the house where you stay includes. So you multiply it by 3. That is your price. But if you want to be a good person, you can go by 2. But the disadvantage is that particular dress you made about 5, you may not sell all of them. Who covers the cost? Decide yourself what you do. Now, the 12th step is promoting your brand. Marketing is the one of the important facts when you're, hey God, when you're deciding to start ready-to-wear business, keep money for marketing. Out of experience, keep money for marketing. Except you decide to do a business that, yeah, let me just start. Even if I don't sell this month, I will sell next month. Even if I don't sell next month. No. If you mean business, out of experience, I am telling you categorically, keep money for marketing, keep money for adverts, keep money for telling people to wear your dress, keep money for taking that business to the next level. That is what I got to say. So let's go with the 13th step. Okay, startup cost estimate. Okay, now AI just gave us the startup cost, how much we should estimate, and we'll be posting it here what it gave to me. But in total, he said the startup we should consider having like 600K. But for me, out of experience, if you want to start a ready-to-wear business, how much should you have? If you do not have, I think I'll tell this particular topic. I will, visit it again, but not today. Okay. But I'll just show you what ChatGPT have here because it takes a lot. If I do this costing right now, this video will be filled up. So if you need it, just let me know in the comment section. But I will be doing the next video. All right. Now let's just rush this up. The 14th step is common mistakes to avoid. Okay. Listen, the first mistake to avoid is producing too many clothes, copying designs poorly. No. When you copy design, how do I like this handkerchief that came out? You know that there are people that doubled their own. There are people that did it 2 steps. So copy design wisely, not poorly. Okay. Now ignore sizing. Anybody say size it? No. You ask that person, are you size X extra? Are you large? Are you medium? Each person have their own sizes. Now avoid price too cheap. You see cheap price, cheap. Avoid it, please. Okay. And another thing is skipping branding. Yeah. Don't skip branding. It could take your brand very serious because in future it is your brand. When anything comes in, it is your brand. All right. So take your brand serious, guys. Now let's go for the 5th and the final steps. This video, I do not want it to be long, but let's just go with the final steps. Start strategically for beginners. All right. Now this is the 5th step, and AI said smart strategy for beginners. Best beginners model. Start with 5 style. All right. So 20 to 30 pieces in total. Launch on Instagram and use pre-orders. Okay. Reproduce best sellers. This reduces risk. Now, in all ChatGPT says or what AI gave to us, it plays a long role, like for those that want to start ready to wear. Key into it, it is very necessary. But the part that I disagree is the price. You see the price of starting a ready-to-wear business? I will be treating it separately. I will be having more of these videos. I will take my time to tell you what it takes currently for you to open a ready-to-wear business and give you the full cost. All right, so it's a separate video. So guys, if you have any question pertaining ready-to-wear business or any challenge you have been facing on how to handle it, let me know on the comment section. All right, and see you guys on my next video. Remember to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like.